Hello and welcome to the live call. It is Tuesday, and it is that time that I do get started and talk about something that is tactical, maybe something tactical, something a little bit strategic, but all about future-proofing your business. And at the end of the day, a lot of the things that I tend to talk about will be in the sales realm, in the marketing realm, and helping people get clear about the roadmap forward. So, in the marketing side, obviously, it's about that lead generation, bringing people who would want to work with you and that you can help and that you love into your world. And on the other side, it's about how to have them say yes in a way that ideally doesn't feel like what other people call selling. And I think that's a fun bit for me, and that's certainly what I'm going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about how to actually make sales more fun, more effective, and less icky, and make it a little bit more conversational. So that's the big subject for today. I'd love to actually have your engagement, your feedback, your comments. Make sure you put them in the chat below. Welcome to Tactical Tuesday. That's right. It is Tactical Tuesday, and it's a little moment in time where we can get together and talk about what's happening in the world of sales, marketing, and future proofing your business. Because as we know, there is a lot of change going on right now. I just finished running a discussion group in the OHS space, and interestingly enough, nobody there thinks it's going to be a normal Christmas. So I wonder, in your world, if it feels like it's going to be a normal Christmas within your industry. And will it be one of those situations where we have this sort of like dead chasm? I talked to a colleague of mine who's an accountant. He talks about this sort of chasm that happens through Christmas, where you've got the dead zone between mid-December right through to February. And for a lot of people, they just believe that that thing needs to exist, that big hole in the ground where they can't continue to have conversations and can't continue to actually get cash flow through that period of time. Now, for some industries, they've got a point, but for other industries, it's more about preparation. What did you do to prepare for that situation so that there would be people to be speaking to throughout that period? Because I would say probably about 50% of people who would normally take leave are taking leave this year, and I think that the whole world has changed when it comes to that. So the question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to actually take time off? Probably, because a lot of people are going, look, I am just exhausted. I am fatigued. I need to take the time off. Here's an idea. Instead of taking the time off as a reward for all the hard work you do, take time off actually plan the time off. Crazy idea, I know, and I've got to take my own medicine on that. But plan the time off so that you've got the energy to continue through the actual busy period. So whatever you decide to do, whether you decide to take time off or whether you're actually going to be working, it does not need to be difficult to be getting new, awesome clients into your business. It just takes some process. And so what I want to talk about this week in general is about how to have those conversations that don't feel like you're selling, yet at the same time you get sales from them. All right. So there's this weird thing where people don't like phone calls. And funnily enough, I did a poll last week where people were talking about phone calls and how it was the highest thing as far as like things they didn't want to be doing. Now, I assume that most people, when they think phone calls in regards to marketing and sales, are thinking cold calls. Now, I've run businesses that do lead generation in that cold call space, and you can definitely get sales from there. There's no problem. But not all sales on the phone need to be cold. There's no reason for them to be that at all. And there are all sorts of different conversation formats that you can do. But why do we want to have a conversation? Well, because most people I speak to in service-based businesses, advisory businesses, training businesses actually love speaking to people. They actually love having the conversation about helping that person get to a point of where they get a solution for the thing that they've got a problem with, right? They love the conversation. Yet they don't want to have the conversation at the start. And that's the part that confuses me. So there might be comments that you've got about that. Please put them in the chat. I'd love to hear from your point of view as to why people don't like to have a conversation at the start. And I guess it's the idea of talking to strangers. You know, we've been told since birth by a lot of our parents not to talk to strangers. And so that's a bit of a hangover. But we still need to meet, get to know people, and decide if we want to work with them before we can actually work with them the majority of the time. I know a lot of people are trying to do digital funnels, and you're only one funnel away, and there's all these different things that people are trying to do to automate their business. But the challenge I see in automation, the challenge I see in productization of a business is that when you're moving into a new area or starting something new or getting back into the momentum of your business when you've been knocked by something like COVID or something else, there is very much a startup mode again. And during that startup mode, it is not the time to actually put your offer in a box and say, there's what I've got. It's not the time to systemize something where you don't have a system that yet works. It's not a time to automate a system that's not currently working. It's actually a time to be speaking to people who could be your ideal prospects, speaking to those people who could be your ideal clients, and actually finding out. It is a real discovery time. Now, if anybody here has done any sort of sales training in the past, I'm sure you will have heard of the word discovery, which is the idea of speaking to a prospect, understanding their wants and their needs, getting very clear about how you could help them. All right. Now, it's difficult enough doing that in the conversation without always talking about yourself. There's a lot of people get stuck into two problems. They want to talk all about their product because they're excited about it, but they don't yet know if the prospect has a problem that they can solve. So they're trying to force that square peg into the round hole. That happens a lot. The other side is that they're trying to get the answers to questions. So instead of just having a normal conversation, they will do question, answer, which is an interrogation, right? So we want to avoid the interrogation. We want to avoid this putting the square hole in the round peg, or the square peg in the round hole, because no one loves that. And we want to go into these relationships really finding out if it's something that we should be doing. Like, so we approach any business relationship. I believe we should approach every business relationship like any other relationship we have out there. You know, you're not going to meet someone at a party and just go, let's be best friends before you've actually had a conversation. It's not going to happen. You're not going to walk up to someone on the street, and this is the old one, you walk up to someone on the street, let's say, let's get married. That's not going to happen either, right? Because there's a no, like, trust process that you need to go through. And so one of the pieces that I'm going to be doing next week, and you might be interested in this, and if you are interested, put your name in the comments below and I'll reach out to you, is we're going to do a brainstorming session on what are the different types of conversations that you should be having in your business to make sure that you're, first off, speaking to ideal prospects so you're not wasting your time. But secondly, you're actually having a bit of fun with it. You're enjoying the process rather than it feeling like, you know, hardcore sales. Because it doesn't need to. Again, as I said, most people who are advisors, trainers, experts, or specialist service providers in their space love speaking to people. They actually enjoy that process. Well, you can actually start that process with someone who is a stranger. It just takes a couple of very small steps, which we can actually talk about in that brainstorming session. So if you're interested in that, put your name in the comments and I'll reach out to you. And hopefully you can join me in that session. But there's a couple of steps to actually get you from, look, I'm not doing well in the conversion side. You might just want to have more clients, right? So you're either not doing well, you don't have enough work coming in, or whatever it might be, or you don't like the process. You want to move to a place where you're confident in your sales process. You're confident and you're winning great clients, right? And so the process of doing that is, one, understanding what are the different types of conversations that you can be having. And we'll brainstorm some of that in that session, so make sure you put your name in there. But ideally, you've got the check-in conversations for those people who you already know, all right? So you've already started some form of conversation or relationship with them. You've got the priority conversations, which is the ones where you work out, is now the right time to be actually talking about your services and your offer with these people. And you don't do that by just offering the services. You do that by listening. You know, it's the old adage of we've got two ears and one mouth. We should listen in that amount. We should listen twice as much as we speak. So are you listening to your prospects and customers and actually hearing the things that they want rather than what you think that they need? All right, so that's a big one. So we think that, like, because we know an industry so well, we go, oh, this problem needs to be solved. We need to fix this problem. But often, because we haven't done the conversations, we haven't actually got into a conversation with enough prospects, we haven't been listening to the words they've been using, so we can go, oh, that's the problem you want solved. Now, if I solve this problem, that means that, I will also fix this need because it's the way I go about it. Most of the time, people want to offer something before really understanding if it's going to be solving the thing that the client, the prospect, the lead that you've actually got wants solved. So priority conversations are a way of doing that. There's also strategy conversations or actual sales conversations. What is the process you're using so that they don't feel yucky? It's one of those, it's this basically. You've got to think of it like skiing. Now, I might have actually done this on a live before, which is absolutely fine. But let's say, and you know that I've I went to art school, so you'll be able to tell what this little guy is. This is a skiing person, a person who skis, right? Slalom skier, and they are starting at the top of the mountain. Now, that could be you in a sales conversation, right? And so you've got a choice. You can actually be just skiing randomly around, and you'll eventually get down to the end of the thing. Or you can be Olympic quality skiing, which means that you actually need to move the conversation as fast as you can through a couple of goals. So when I talk about conversation process when it comes to sale, it's simple stuff. We're talking about like maybe 2 or 3 steps so that you know that, okay, they have got a problem. Okay, we're continuing the conversation. Okay, they do want a outcome that is this. Okay, and then we're getting to a point of collaborating with them to say, is the outcome I've got the outcome that they want? All right, so there's these little gates that people go through, and it's about understanding what are these gates in your business, and that's what we can brainstorm. So if you want to be in that session, put your name in the comments, but we can basically move people through these gates, and it just makes the conversation that we have with people so much more fun and easy to do. Because number one, you're actually having a conversation with people. You're not making them do a certain thing. You're not putting them through a process. You just know that you need to hit certain notes during the conversation, and you're actually home. You're a gold medalist. You've actually won when it comes to that client. And they'll say yes way more easily because it doesn't feel like a sales process. It is actually just a conversation where and it might sound crazy, but all you've done is said, tell me about what's going on for you. They declare some problems. You check in with that problem. Okay, I understand it. Then you go, all right, so you're here. What do you want instead? Or I want to get to this outcome. Okay, that's an outcome I think I can help with. Let's look at how that might look. So you've already passed through 2 gates. You're coming down to the 3rd, and you go, all right, well, here's a couple of options. Do you like A, B, or C? There are different ways. Can we change a few things in there? Okay, so if we were to actually present this that actually got you this outcome, is that something you want to go ahead with? Right? It sounds simple because it is. It is literally just taking 3 people through these steps. But it's important that for your business and your prospects, because they are different, what are the gates that need to be created for you and your conversations so that you're not having coffee conversations that go nowhere. You're not constantly having to be on the phone and getting low conversion rates. And you're actually speaking to people who want your help, which is where you want to be, I'm sure. So conversations do not need to be difficult. They can be as fun as they are when you're having conversations, when you're doing the work with people. So if you're doing training, if you're doing advisory, if you're doing any sort of specialist service, you know that you enjoy speaking to the clients. It's why you're not just doing, some analytical data piece that is just that's being sold to a corporate entity. You've actually built a business. You've stood up from whatever it is you're doing. You've gone, I'm going to create something new. You've gone and you've created your business, ideally speaking to people. And part of the process is speaking to people along the way. And so it's very quick to actually move someone from a stranger to someone who you've really enjoyed having a conversation with. Part of that is in marketing, in knowing how to attract and repel people you don't want to deal with. Attract those you really want, repel those you don't want to. That's part of the marketing process, and we talk about that often here. But the second part of it is actually, once you know that these people are your ideal clients, then how do you take them through this very simple process? So if you are interested in doing that, put your name in the comments below. We'll have a chat next week. I haven't defined what time it is, so I'll check in with a few people who want to do it. It's a very, very small session. I'll probably only have 5 people on the call, but we can get very clear about what are the gates for the conversations that you're having. I think later in the week too, I'm going to be putting out a list of the different types of conversations you can be having in sales. But ideally, it allows you to get past the roadblock in your head about this is a sale and understand that it's just a simple conversation. Yeah, and there are so many different ways to have that. So my name's Russell Pearson. If you don't know who I am, welcome. But for the last 25 years, that's what I've been doing, is helping people in the space of promotion, marketing, and sales. Right? Sales training is actually what I do most of the time. I run a program called The Forge, which is a business program that helps people do a large part of what this is, but it also gives them a roadmap so that they actually know what are the things that are important to their business, rather than, what are they hearing from all around them, which really creates overwhelm. There are so many different things that people say out there that you should be doing. And the reality is there are very, very few things that you should be doing in your business. And if you can do those very few things well, and I'm thinking probably about 5 different things in your business really well, then you will attract and retain and get referrals from some magic, ideal clients in your world. Until next time, stay passionate, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.